My back. I wouldn't be so weak if I got enough to eat. I wish I could have a rice ball.
A rice ball? What is this strange thing you're talking about?
I can't explain. Just something that popped into my head. I'm not sure what it is, but I feel like it tastes really good.
We're doing a group project. In order for us to move up a grade, we have to do at least 10 good deeds that will make someone tell us thank you. But my bra here is trying to get out of the group. I never said that! What I said was I can't go along with what you're doing any longer. That's basically the same thing.
Hey, hold on. Let's calm down. Why can't you go along with what she's doing?
It's not right to cause trouble for someone just to help them out of it. Huh? But it's getting the job done, isn't it? You're not supposed to hide someone's belongings so you can let them borrow your own.
Sorry, but I think she may have a point.
Yeah, I think that's messed up.
Hey,
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How's your day? How's your evening going?
It's fine. It's busy. How is yours?
It was fine. I was stuck in the rain for a bit.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's raining down here in Georgia.
Oh, you got our rain. We had rain for the last couple days.
Hey, why don't y'all keep it then?
No, we're good. We're good. I can't record during the thunderstorms. You can keep it. I'm sure you need it.
Come on. Oh, well, I didn't need it. I was stuck in traffic for a few hours, but I made it home. So, went to Pubs and got me a sandwich. So there's that.
Yay.
So, and plus, I was also playing some Mario Kart before you hopped online. So I just finished my races.
Did you win?
Yeah, I did. Oh, you know who you're talking to? I'm an expert at Mario Kart now.
Perfect. No, that couldn't be me. I never played enough to get really good, but good for you.
Oh, I can teach you if you want.
I don't have any game consoles anymore, but as a kid, I used to play a lot with my friends.
You threw them away. Why'd you throw them away?
No. They're not. I didn't throw them away. My sister took one of them, and I think one of them is back in like my childhood home back in New York.
Oh, shoot. Well, I hope you get your consoles back at some point.
Thank you.
If you be willing to play games. So, but you get the picture. But if all the small talk is over, I guess we can go ahead and get this thing started. Again, I want to start with small talk first before we get this thing started. If you see where I'm going with this. So, good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday night. This is Phil. I'm host of the Conversation Podcast, and I got a special guest with me this evening. So introduce yourself. Who's Rebecca Chiara Marano I'm speaking to today?
Yeah, that's me. I'm Rebecca Chiara Marano. I'm a full-time voice talent for anime, video games, animations, kiosks at the airport, and more. And I consider myself an indoor cat.
There you go. I can tell with the cat ears and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many cats do you have?
I don't. I consider myself a cat, but I don't actually have any cats. I have dogs.
Oh. They probably want to get along then.
You never know. Some dogs and cats get along.
I don't know. I mean, if you've seen the history, dogs hate cats. But you might be right. It depends on who it is, if I can say that.
Yeah.
So that works. Well, before we get into it, let's do a little bit of an icebreaker. Now you said now before we had this discussion, you said you had your old home in New York, right? Have you tried any of the New York pizzas at all?
Well, yeah, I lived in New York, so yeah.
What was your favorite pizza?
Okay, there's a lot of good pizza, but the one that was like near like where I grew up was like a family business called Basilico, and that one was really good, and the people are very nice, and they donate to a lot of the local places as well, like a lot of the local schools, and it just was very wholesome.
Okay, okay. Listen, I'm trying to get to New York one of these days so I can check out the city and check out their New York style pizza as well.
Mm-hmm. And the
So,
ramen.
oh, ramen too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, question. Do you have a ramen in specific that I should try?
I love Ichiran Ramen. They have a bunch of locations. They have some in Brooklyn. They have some right in Times Square. They're always very busy, and they're like the ones where you go and you sit alone and like you don't have to interact with anyone. They're the isolation ones, but it's so good because it came from Tokyo.
Okay, okay. I'll look into that. Listen, I'm trying to try new things. And speaking of Tokyo, I am trying to go to Japan for my birthday at some point. It's a work in progress, but I gotta save money first. You gotta have money for the trip and then money for when you get to Japan as well. It's not
Mm-hmm.
an easy task, but I'm still gonna fight to get there.
Yeah.
So, well, now that the ice is broken, I guess we can go ahead and get into this, shall we? So here's the thing. There's 20 questions, but some of these are going to be two-part questions, okay? Just to
Okay.
keep it simple so we don't have to ask like every single question. Let's I'll tell you when this is going to be a two-part question, okay?
Okay.
So which means this first one is a two-part question. So, now, what first made you realize voice acting was something you wanted to pursue seriously? Part two, you've trained through Edge Studios and with Dan Green, the voice of Knuckles from Sonic X and Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day. What's one lesson that really changed how you approach your craft?
Okay, so two very different questions. I got really serious about voiceover because I'd been performing my whole life through like circus arts and theater and film and all that stuff, and I dabbled in voiceover, but nothing super seriously until, um, well, okay, so I was okay. There's a couple parts to it, but yeah, I'll do the
Take
simpler
your
one.
time.
I did do a really cool project when I was between universities, and I really enjoyed it there. But I decided to make it serious when I was in my second school, my second college, and I joined the university's anime club. And up until that point, I'd always watched dubbed because my home had the Funimation channel, and I didn't really realize that, like, oh, this is usually in Japanese. And so when I started watching it with the club, I was like, oh, like this is a job that people can do. They can like voice it in English. That's a real thing. And then later on that year, I studied abroad in Japan and I fell in love with it there. I love the culture and, so much more than just the pop culture as well. So that when I got back and I graduated, I was like, you know what? I would really like to pursue this and see where it goes, which then leads me to Edge Studio, getting accepted to there. And after a couple years of working in New York, I came down here to Dallas to pursue anime.
Mm,
And
that's-
then to do your other question, unless you have any questions about that. I know that was a long
No, no,
answer
no, I don't. No,
itself.
no, no, no. I want you to preach. I want you to preach.
Okay. To answer the second question, yeah. So when I got accepted into Edge Studio, which is really interesting because you have to audition for the studio itself just to be one of the voiceover students, but then you have to audition specifically if you want to do animation because it's a different type of work. And I got into both. And then when I met Dan, he obviously taught me a lot of things, but I think the thing that sticks out to me the most that I use like pretty much every day now is how to do boy voices. Because he was like, hey, I think you'd have a really good boy voice. And I was like, me? I have a high voice. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, but it's not that different. Because I think what most people think of when they think of boy voices is you have to be like really gruff and really low. But in reality, a lot of little girl voices and a lot of little boy voices are very similar. So because of him, I did some research on it. I figured out how to do the proper mouth placement because apparently women have more of a sibilant, so you can hear like the tss, tss, whereas men don't. And if you can kind of fix that and figure out the right amount of rasp, it can really help you in voiceover because you can get a lot of boy roles.
That is true. And listen, and I've been saying this the whole time, like with the previous people I've talked to, like, you start somewhere, you step your toes in the water, you just get moving. And plus, I've seen so many people like who have been into this stuff since like day one, like Toonami, Boomerang, all this stuff. Listen, my whole pop culture adventure started with Batman the animated series.
Yeah.
It still is my favorite series. I don't care. And also, rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. So there's still like all that stuff from your childhood can inspire you to do amazing stuff. And of course, there are some people, back in my elementary school days and middle school and back then who didn't quite understand it, but now it's starting to develop more. And now that you're getting a chance to do something like this, that you grew up in high school or at college, etc., that makes it more fun that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice because I know people have commented being like, back in my day, if I wore a Dragon Ball shirt, people would bully me, but now it's the jocks that are wearing the Dragon Ball shirts. And it's like, it's kind of a good thing, though. It's become more of a, you know, what's the word? Like mainstream stuff for most people.
hmm Yeah, it's like because back in the day, early 2000s, technology was coming up, but it wasn't like futuristic at that point. Because I think back then, we didn't have social media. We didn't know. I think people when they wanted to message people or something, they used message boards back in the day. Like we didn't have any like advanced telephones until we got like close to the end of the 2000s. Like I think it was like 2010, 2011 when they started developing like iPhones. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look. But if you see where I'm going with this, I think people had to warm up into animation and all these cartoons we see to be like, okay, now I'm comfortable and I can do this for a living.
Sure.
So if I worded that correctly, listen. I always ask if I worded that correctly before we go on.
If
So
I think I understand what you're saying correctly, yes.
okay, good. Just want to make sure. Um, Next up, do you also have a background in theater, film, and even you just said circus arts, but let's go ahead and continue the question. How have those experiences shaped your voice acting?
I think they made a huge difference on my voice acting because I was very fortunate that I had an upbringing in acting, so I already kind of knew the basics of acting and especially different types of mediums. Because I think if you're only used to one type of acting, then it can cause an issue when you go into a different type. So, like, I grew up with theater, which is great, I think, for an all around type of acting because it's basic acting, but also it teaches you to, like, be big because if you're far away from someone, they don't know what your emotions are and you're not as afraid about making a fool of yourself, I think. Whereas film acting is still really great and it's very different. It's more nuanced and it's a lot smaller, which is also great for voiceover. And then when you kind of put them together, you have this great combination of either being a huge, like kind of big kind of character and knowing how to like play around, but then also being able to do more serious scenes and smaller moments. Because I found that people who only do one or the other, sometimes, not all people, can sometimes struggle with going to voiceover because I think, oh, it's just the same thing, but I'm in front of a microphone. And it's not. It's a definite learning curve. But at the same time, I think having the basics in acting puts you at a huge leg up, you know?
Yeah. And I like how you said that there's other forms of acting instead of voice acting. Like you focus on one thing. It's not as enticing as it is to be. Because let me tell you one thing. When I heard that Channing Tatum was in the Demon Slayer movie,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, well, shoot, voice acting doesn't have to be everything. Even actors can voice characters in animation. So, listen, you see, I've seen this trick before. All these actors in LA have either done cartoons, anime, and just regular movies in general. So, in your situation, you're in a good position because I was like, I can't just do the voice act. There's probably more stuff out there that I want to do. I just haven't found it yet. And listen, this stuff takes time. Like, you gotta like if something like if it's gonna take time for you to do like a full feature film, then shoot, ooh, like, just put in the work to show people saying, hey, I want to be in this feature film. Can I show you what I've done up to this point? And it comes and goes as life goes on as well, which is I guess what I really do enjoy seeing actors because now when they try to get Demon Slayer and the Chainsaw movie into the Oscars, they raised a lot of money. They didn't make it. They didn't get into the Oscars. I don't know. Oh, it was one of the films that kind of beat them or something. I don't know, but they were so close to getting like a representation in that industry as well.
Yeah, and it sucks. And that's another thing we talk about a lot of times in voiceover is that animation specifically is not taken seriously enough as an art form. Everyone should think, oh, it's for kids. And it's not. It actually started as something for adults. But then, I forget the whole story behind it. But once they needed to start uh, budgeting it, and they made it a little bit different, and they also had to put it in a specific time slot. Then it kind of became associated as, oh, it's Saturday morning cartoons, it's for kids. But it was originally for adults, and the amount of work that people put behind kids' shows is enough that, it should be valued the same as any other acting form.
And my other problem is it beats Superman. Why couldn't they put this in the Oscars for some reason? And here's the thing though. I think the more you guys keep producing films and anime films like that, the more y'all listen, the more y'all put in the work into these films for animation, and it keeps trying to beat American movies, one day it's gonna get into the Oscars at some point.
We're making progress. I mean, what was it? It was only a couple years ago that we won the first non-American director or first non-American movie won an Oscar, and that was for Parasite. And then this year, he didn't get in, but there was some petition for the dog from Good Boy to be in the Oscars. And
Yeah.
good dog actor. So we're making slow progress for like not just the typical movies anymore.
Well, you know the old saying, Rebecca, slow and steady wins the race.
Mm-hmm.
So don't rush. You guys are doing great so far. So I'm going to keep supporting those films and the movies and stuff. And listen, like I said, and like you said before, don't focus on one thing. Listen, when I started this whole thing, I'm not just talking to you guys. I got other people to look into as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I just focus on just you got the VAs, I'm not going to get anywhere because there's like there's more to life than just listening to people talk about animation as well. And like I said before, I guarantee you, Rebecca, you guys probably get tired of talking about anime all the time.
I mean, some of us don't, but I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yeah, but yeah, I understand. And I don't listen, I'm not saying that you should stop. Keep going, don't stop. I want you to keep going, but I'm just saying, like, to keep my thing diverse, I need to bring different people. I need to bring people in with different aspects of life, if you understand.
Yeah.
So so yeah, like, don't stop at just the animation. Go find some feature films or American films you could be in as well.
Mm. I will say though, it's a bigger hurdle for those of us who are in voiceover to jump up to being able to be in feature films than the other way around. Because sometimes for these like Pixar films or Disney films, etc., they're
Mhm.
more looking for star quality and they're looking for big names. So it's easier for some of those people to get into our stuff than it is for us to get into theirs.
Mhm. Yeah, it goes hand in hand, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
that's the trick. Last question that will be in section two, all right? So, do you remember the first role or project where you felt like, okay, I belong here? And before you start, have you heard the term imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Go ahead and answer.
So that's a hard question. I think the one I'll answer with though is actually the one that I did before I decided to go full time actually. This is the one that I did when I was between colleges and I got into some kind of audio drama that was a historical audio drama about World War II and Nazis and stuff. And it was it's hard to explain. I don't know where it went, but it was an experience, and it was really cool because all of the cast was together in one big studio when we were recording it, and it was kind of autobiographical. And I just remember that even though I hadn't done too much voice work at that time, I was getting so many compliments from other people, and they're like, "Do you do this for a living?" And I was like, "No," and they're like, you need to do this for a living. Like, you seem really into the characters. You got the accents, because at the time I was much better at my German accent. Not that I was playing a Nazi, but German people were in, whatever.
I got you.
And I just received so many accolades, and I enjoyed it so much, and I enjoyed the whole process that I was like, this is, maybe this is something I should really try out more for and really look into. So I think that was definitely one of the projects that sparked my interest in pursuing more voiceover.
Okay. Yeah, because I know I've seen so many of you guys. Well, we can't let me say one thing, and I said this multiple times throughout season two of this podcast. Voice acting is not an easy job at all. I will say that.
No.
Let me say that first. It's not an easy job. And it took me a while to understand that, like I said, in high school, I was mostly in it for the entertainment and just want to see you guys and whatnot. But now I'm at an age where it's like, okay, I'm mature enough to sit down and have like one-on-one convos with y'all and maybe understand from y'all perspective because, I don't know if you saw, well, what was it that who was that voice actor that posted last week? Have you seen a post from Alex Lee last week about he was saying like people were giving him hatred or something or saying like he's just doing this just because he's popular and
Oh,
whatnot.
yes, yes, yes. I did see that.
Yeah, and he was talking about, oh, hey, it's not an easy job. I said, I wish I can. He told the story of how his parents, he was cut off from his parents and he was only at $2,000, which is really not a lot of money. So he had to spend like hours working, looking for auditions and everything. And it gets to a point where it's like, hey, we have to do something. We can't just sit around and wait for something to happen. We have to go after it. It's it's like having to like, wait on somebody to save us, but we have to dedicate ourselves to it and put in the work first.
Yeah.
So it's sorry, I'm trying to gather my thoughts here. I've entered one of my venting sessions here.
You're good.
So it gets so yeah, so oh I kind of felt bad for him too because I was like, like you see fans who go to conventions and be like, hey, this stuff seems pretty easy, but for you guys' perspective, it's really not because you have to go through a lot of rejections, auditions, and make sure you can be trusted. Because especially if you get a major character to be lead in the series, you got to be trusted with the character as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
like the difficult part.
I had that experience literally last week at a convention. I had someone talk to me and they were like, yeah, so like, what's it like being a voice actor? And I was like, it's hard. And he goes, really? He's like, no one's ever said that. And I'm like, it is. And I had to talk to me. I'm like, guys, it's hard, right? And they were like, yes. And we had to say all those reasons, about rejection and perseverance. And there's so many elements that make it so difficult.
Mm. Yeah, and I spoke with and like I said, I think when we texted, I think you saw that I did speak with Darian McDoctor last 2 weeks ago. She was saying like, you go through a lot of rejections, and there are so many people. There's people who got that ego as well. They got egos, and they want to voice this really spectacular character, but you probably won't be able to get that person. So you gotta be able to show the people if you're serious or not. Like, show all the previous work you've done up to this point, and that goes for you when you did your first role. I'm sure you did a lot of like voice memos and reels to show how much work you've done before they can you know. Before they can put you in and say, hey, let's take this person. Rebecca seems like a great voice actor to do this role. Let's give her a shot.
Mm. So it's actually funny. I think it almost should be the opposite because we're in such a cool internet age right now where there's so many indie projects and there's so many student films and things like that that could use people who are just getting started. And I think it's almost better for people to get their feet wet with things like that. Like there's this website called Casting Call Club, which is great for that, or even some things in like certain Discord servers. And I think it's better to get your feet wet with experience rather than some people who are making their own reels where they don't understand the industry quite yet. So their reels aren't going to come out the way that they want them to, and it can almost kind of hurt you. So I do think sometimes it's better to do experience wise. So like when I got my first voiceover job, I didn't have anything based on that, but I guess I did have other acting experience. So I had my theater stuff to back me up.
Hmm? Listen, you just gotta use what's in your toolbox.
Yeah.
Use what's in your toolbox. Like if this is what you got, okay, let's work for what we have and let's keep it moving. We'll improve on the other stuff later. Um, we're out of section one now. Now we're in section two, range, characters, and performance. So, another two-part question coming. Um, you have a huge vocal range from young characters, as you discussed earlier, to creatures. Now, how do you physically and mentally switch between those extremes? Part two, when you're creating a character, what comes first for you? The voice, the emotion, or physicality?
Gotcha. those questions kind of go in together because for me I think I do the voice first, and so a lot of times it helps to have a visual. Like if I'm auditioning for something and I can see what they look like instantly in my mind, I'll be like, oh okay, I know what they can sound like. But if I don't, or even if I do but I want to try something different, I think the important thing for working with range is kind of playing around with your voice. And so figuring out all the different ways that you can make either a humanoid character sound or like a creature kind of thing sound. And I think there's a lot of people that go with their natural voice, which is totally fine. And some people can definitely make a living off of that. But I enjoy playing around with different vocal types. And people don't even realize how many different ways there are to do a voice because they think of, oh, there's high and there's low, or low and whatever. But there's so many other elements. There's rasp, there's breathy, there's the pace at which you speak, there's the enunciation. All of this stuff, they're all little bits and they all make your voice sound drastically different, and they can all affect the character as well. And so the more you play around with that, the easier it is to have, I think, a larger range, and kind of have more fun with it.
And also, if I can add on to that, when you guys do new projects, because and I said this before too, like some of you guys, when y'all see the people, y'all have time to research, but sometimes y'all don't have time to research because of the production date and the release date of all these shows. Because mostly, a person will tell you, hey, we don't have time to research character, just come in and see and just try to wing it. And a lot of people do research on these characters because they want to make sure they're prepared. And I'll give you a few examples. Like, say for example, Rebecca, you've seen the characters and researched them, and it's like, I've seen their backstory. Do you also read the manga of any of the shows you watch or no?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes I will look it up.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
a lot of times it's not even like they're like, oh, we didn't have time. It's more like there is no research for you to do. Like there's nothing available for you.
Okay, okay. So pretty much just wing it as much as you can. So pretty much when you see a character, you also have to think, okay, so I've seen their backstory and what the traumas they went through. Now, how can I put my personality into this person I'm doing?
Yeah. Well, it's also a little bit harder for anime because for that one, as much as it's like, oh, I can read the manga and figure out what voice I want to use, a lot of times when it comes to dubbing, we have to base it off of the Japanese.
All
So we
right.
also have to hear how they interpret the character, and then we can kind of try to put a spin on it, but it's more about taking the base that they gave us and then making it more into English and adding life to it. But yes, in other versions, if I had a character that was prelay, which means there's no base for it, yeah, you kind of have to figure out how you want to make the character.
hmm Yeah, and that's the same thing that, John Sway, I talked to him like 3 months ago in February, the voice of All from My Hero Academia. You guys have to listen exactly what the Japanese voice actor is doing.
Yeah.
That way you'll be like, okay, so now I can see what he's doing. Now let's see if we can put some spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, which is hard to do because you're doing a lot of things all at once. So it can be really hard to be doing the acting and the dubbing for time and all of that cold, you know?
And it's not like again, it's not easy because we have to like really dig deep and break it out. So yeah, pretty much. I can see y'all. I can imagine y'all doing that. Like it's like, how am I supposed to like do what they're doing, but I can't get it. It's challenging, ain't it?
It's a learned skill. I think the better people are at having a base, the easier it'll be to throw you into cold situations. So like if you're used to doing boy voices, then you don't have to think as much about the acoustics of making a boy voice when you get thrown into an audition opportunity. If you're used to doing like a not impressions but like a voice match, it'll be easier for you when you get into the booth to be able to hear someone's voice and be like, okay, I know how to somewhat imitate that, so you don't have to focus as much about matching them with too much energy. And same thing with timing, with getting used to the beeps and doing things to time. And improv is also very important because it makes you better at coming up with more takes to do, or being able to be on the fly and kind of changing stuff. The more you're able to practice and the more experience you have, the looser you can be, the easier it's going to be.
Okay, okay. Well, shoot. Ew, if you continue to do that, I might need to listen to some of y'all struggles so I can understand what they going through. Not sure if you guys have any recorded in audio visuals, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, just it's challenging, but I think you guys have gotten used to it.
Yeah.
Pretty much like 50-50.
Yeah, it's never, I mean, for me, I would never say anything is ever easy. You still have to put in a lot of work every time, but I think the more you do it, the more comfortable you get.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
Yeah. Knock on some wood.
Oh, next one, actually, this might be my favorite one because I got a few sounds I want to share with you if possible. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Creature and monster sounds are such a unique skill. Now, how did you develop that and what's your process like?
Kind of the same as the other answer. I kind of discovered those sounds, I guess, when I was a kid, which is, I think, every single voice actor's answer. And it's just about playing around with different sounds, being able to figure out the stuff that you can make, and then how to kind of make it as a person. So, like, I can do like a uvula trill, which is like which is not a lip trill, which is the. And being able to do stuff like that, playing around with different parts of your mouth and where you force the air out of, what your tongue is doing. And then sometimes I can just do research, which I was doing earlier today, actually, of watching other people, how they do their weird mouth sounds, so you can learn new ways of doing it, and then you can kind of combine them into, like, a weird little dude.
Sweet, that's amazing. So here's the thing. I don't know if you have you heard of the Gears of War series?
No, sorry.
So no, I mean nobody else plays games like that's right. You got rid of who am I talking to? You got rid of all your you don't have any consoles anymore.
Yeah.
My bad. So here's the thing. Some of the creatures in Gears 5, same thing, they make sounds in the game as well. When we're like playing like the multiplayer matches, I'll give you a few of them. Let's take the Cantus, for example. He says a few things, okay? All right, here's the first one. He was like, hey, when he executed a person or killed a person while he was on the ground, he said, "Feed worms." And then another one was like, "Shredding fire." Then we got the Scion. He was like dermatoursis.
Mm.
They're creatures. They do speak a little bit of English, but they're still creatures. Locust and Scion. Oh, here's the one. And litho layered.
Yeah.
So hope I hope those count as monster voices or creature voices.
They can. It depends on the creature. Yeah, I know some people define monster and creature based on whether or not they speak English. Because those are also definitely audio qualities of what you were doing that you could put in for like a normal character as well. Because a lot of that sounded more like grit, and then some of them like maybe like a little bit of a lisp or whatever. So those could be applied to normal people roles as well if you wanted to.
Okay. Oh wait, I got one more in the vent. When they used the boom shot on somebody, they was like, "Ha ha, boom, oh mine."
Mm.
So I just wanted to do that because that was funny. I just wanted to know your reaction to those.
Yeah, no, they're fun. They're fun. They're fun to do fun voices like that for sure.
So, but yeah, I was like, shoot, even though they're creatures, they do still speak a little bit of English.
Hmm.
So there's that. But you'll have to check them out. But yeah, when you're doing creature voices, you're gonna have to do a few like tongue twisters or tips or tricks or whatever you like to do with like lip stuff. Maybe grit your like you say like grit teeth, etc. Yeah, there's a lot of skills if you're gonna do like the monster roles. Because didn't Robert Atkin Downs did Doomsday? He did a few because in Batman v Superman he did Doomsday and he did a few monster voices for that movie.
I wouldn't know. I will trust your opinion on that.
Now, what he did. You didn't see the 2016 movie?
No, I'm sorry.
Rebecca, you are missing out on stuff. You gotta go watch these things.
I'm not a big superhero person. I'm sorry.
No. Okay. Well, so you're just mostly into the. Wait. But if you're into anime, it doesn't My Hero Academia count as superhero.
Okay, yeah. That's different. I guess I meant like Marvel and DC. I mean, I did like them back in the day. Aquaman is my favorite. But I like the nerdy blonde dude. Nothing against Jason Momoa, but I don't necessarily need to see a bunch of like shirtless dudes punching walls.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that. But yes, all those VAs who are doing creatures. Wait, Wait, Fred Tatasciore, wait. Actually, no, he's Marvel. That won't count for you either. Even though he does the Hulk voices from time, but he still speaks English. There's that as well. But yeah, every people who I think doing the monster voices are kind of fun.
Yeah. They're really great. What people need to know though, when they have to be careful about them, is about the what's the word for it? Not perseverance, endurance. And so a lot of people they're like, oh, I could do a really cool sound, but it's like, okay, but can you do that sound for 4 hours straight? Because a lot of people I know that do these kind of projects, they ruin their voice because they don't know how to properly make the voices for long enough.
Ooh, so there's a pro and con to that.
Yeah, you gotta train.
Mm, well, shoot, if I keep doing this, I think I might need to be careful then.
I mean, if you're doing it for 2 seconds each, you're good.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, then I'm fine.
Yeah.
Then I'm fine. So there's that. Oh, last one, and then be in the next section. What's been the most challenging voice or sound you've had to perform so far?
Ah, I don't know. The most challenging voice or role I've had to do so far.
Yeah, voice or sound
Or
you've had to
sound.
perform so far.
I'm trying to think. I think anytime I do accent work, I always get a little bit anxious if it's not one of my normal ones, because you want to be careful. And also, anytime that someone's from the region, they're gonna be like, "That's not good enough. That doesn't sound natural." That being said, sometimes people do have like a natural. Let's say, like, I have a colleague who's naturally from the UK, and everyone got very mad at them, being like, their accent was terrible. Dude, they're from the UK, so they're gonna hate your accents no matter what. So that's something. Um, I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm so good. I don't have to worry about anything being difficult. But I guess any creatures are probably the hardest ones for that same reason, for the endurance and making sure you're doing
Okay,
it healthily.
endurance. Yes, endurance and health, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll do it because you have so many monsters in movies, video games, and TV shows. It's a never-ending cycle, and it's like you got to make sure it's perfect, or the fans listen. You gotta make sure it's perfect, and also take a risk of messing up your voice as well if you
Mm-hmm.
don't do it right. So it's a tough thing to process to add. And going back to your like languages, I mean, because you saying UK and accents. When I spoke to Ariana last Friday, I think you know who she is, Ariana Contardo. She does animated stuff as well. She was saying that she has a Scottish accent and she's good with Australian accents.
Mm-hmm.
So, because when Cedric started dating her, she's gotten used he didn't know that she can do accents like that. So
Mm.
then I gave her a little bit of something too, because when I told her about the old Justice League TV show, and Batman was interrogating this guy in that episode called Maid of Honor, where they had to deal with Vandal Savage again. So this one dude who was handcuffed, Batman was asked, "Who are you working for?" Or, and here it comes. It gets it say, "And don't understand budget." He was saying, "Hey, you can't understand a word that I'm saying, and even if you did, I wouldn't tell you anything."
Mm.
Antem, that's done Donamat. That means I can and you will. I was like, take Batman is rich. He can afford to learn a few languages.
Yeah, as he should.
Listen, I'm on a 513-day streak on Duolingo.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
I'm still trying to learn Japanese, and I've not learned a single goddamn sentence in Japanese.
Yeah, okay, if I could say anything about that, is I've heard that Duolingo is not always the best. Like, it's good for vocabulary for Japanese, but not necessarily for sentence structure, because also Japanese is based a lot on, like, the politeness level. So I think I've heard that there's other programs that are maybe a little better for that, and if you want to learn more of, like, other vocabulary and kanji and stuff like that, I used WaniKani for a while, and that was really great.
Yeah, I was okay. So using that, have you learned a full sentence doing Japanese?
Yeah, well, I also studied abroad in Japan, so I knew some sentences from
Lucky.
that.
Listen, I got mad at my folks. They left me behind when I was 8 years old and they went to Japan for a conference. And I was
Mm.
like, come on, man. But hopefully now that I'm a certain age, I can go. Hopefully, because yeah, I listen. As far as me doing Duolingo and watching anime, listen, I watch all the animes in English sub. Please don't be mad at me, okay? I'm
No,
just
you're
trying to.
good.
I'm trying to learn as much before I go travel abroad as well.
Well,
So
you should
it's,
look. Sorry, go on.
sorry. No, go ahead. I'm done.
I was gonna say you should look into your local community center classes, because back when I was in New York, our central school district would do classes for adults, like the adults after hours classes, and they also had like a Japanese 101 class with a teacher who's actually from Japan, and that was super useful, especially for sentence structure. So even without going to Japan, you can probably find something similar around here that's not too expensive, because that's better than any technological programs.
All right, sure. I'll make sure to take a look at it then.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so now that we're out of that, let's go into the industry and professional life, shall we? Now you work not just as a voice actor, but also in casting and voiceover direction. Now, how has being on both sides of the booth changed your perspective?
It definitely helps a lot. Oh my gosh. So I get to see kind of what it's like from the other side. So like, for example, not that this was ever a huge issue for me, but I know a lot of times voice actors who are starting out, they just think about everything from their perspective. And they get really anxious if they don't hear back, and they're like, oh no, like if I didn't book this role, it means I was bad. It means the person didn't like me. But on the other end, like, I have 2,000 auditions to sort through. It has nothing to do with someone being bad. It has nothing to do with the fact that, like, you know, it's just the way it is. And you see how many people are applying, and you also get to hear all the different, not mistakes, but what's the word, like, I guess kind of like bumps that a lot of people kind of fall for, where like the difference between one person's audition and another one might just come down to enunciation or following directions, and you get to learn what's kind of important to casting directors, or the fact that, like, honestly, one of the biggest things I think makes a huge difference, an audition can be super great. You can have great audio, you can be doing a great read, but if like 50 other people did the exact same thing, we need to hear something unique from you. And so knowing that fact after listening through so many auditions has definitely helped me with my own thing, because now I'm trying to think about it from a casting director perspective. What's going to set me apart from all the other reads that follow directions, did enunciation, etc., etc.
Okay, yeah. And listen, being a casting and voiceover direction, yeah. So you guys are not just voice actors. I've also learned that you also do other things, voice acting, like voice direction, engineer, directors, and all that stuff. Because here's the thing: sometimes you just got to wear many hats.
Yeah.
That way, because and some of you guys are writers too, and because sorry, I'm trying to gather my thoughts again. Hold on. You want to be able to do multiple things at once, because voice acting is not the only thing you guys can do while y'all at like these places like Crunchyroll or Bang Zoom or etc. Y'all want to make sure we can help with different projects, because sometimes you might be called in to do a different anime project that you're not in, and you have to direct the other people who are doing the voices for that show as well. So many sides. Listen, Caitlin Glass, all those people, I looked at and researched. They also do directing stuff as well. Chris Sabat has his own thing at Okaran 500.
Yeah.
So yeah, the possibilities are endless. You can't just stop at one thing.
Yeah, well, it's also because acting is very hard to do full time. And so not only is it that we have a lot of interests that we want to pursue, but also sometimes you just need another outlet to get your creative juices flowing, something you have a bit more control over.
And that's what I'm saying. All you guys got different careers besides voice acting. And that's what some people don't understand. Like, you just want to just be a voice actor. There's got to be more to the story, right? Uh, Like, there's more you could be doing instead of just focusing. And this goes back to what I'm saying, like focusing on one thing. Don't do that. Please do not focus on the one thing. There's a lot more opportunities for you out there if you start looking.
Sure, but I will say no one should ever be forced to do more than that, because there's a lot of people right now who are kind of doing a bit more than they need to. So there's a lot of people that are trying to get into casting directing, even if they don't have the the work for it. They're not getting enough projects yet, but they want to be a casting director, or they don't have enough experience to have the right ear to be a casting director. Or there's people that want to be a director because of the prestige, but they don't have enough experience in it. So no one should feel pressured to
Right.
try to take the next step. And then same thing with acting. There's some people that are great at audiobooks, but they want to do anime, but they just want to jump right in without kind of learning the basic ropes. So I think that comes with its own thing of, get some experience first, get some classes or an education first, but then by all means, if you want to pursue something else, definitely do so.
Yeah, of course, and yes, and I agree with you. Like, we don't want to force anybody to like take your time and just think it over first. Like, as far as I'm concerned, you like when people want to do more than just the single thing. Like they just rush so hard and it'd be like think like, oh well, like hey, if I don't do this, it's going to be gone. Listen, take your time. It's not going anywhere. Like, make sure you know exactly what you're getting into first. You don't want to just sign off and be like, hey, I'm ready to go without knowing what's to be expected. I've seen so many people fall into that trap.
Mm-hmm.
I've fallen into that trap a few times as well.
Yeah.
So I don't blame them. Let's see. Now, what do you think newer voice actors under I messed up again. Hold on. What do you think newer voice actors misunderstand about breaking into the industry today?
Yeah, so this kind of goes along with what you were just saying. I think there's a lot of people that don't understand the hard work that comes from getting into the industry. Because I will tell you, I meet a lot of people who are like, oh my God, I've always wanted to do voiceover. It seems so fun. And like, great, that's awesome. But then when I tell them, okay, cool, like I email me and I will send you, like I have a packet of like how to get started in voiceover, which has to do with like get some education for acting. You need like a basic acting background. And like, oh, you do have like you can start off with a lesser mic. You can start off with like a USB mic, sometimes even an iPhone if it's not going to be something huge. But then, then you do have to invest in good equipment. You have to be willing to find like a good space that you can set up for yourself so your audio sounds good. You need to be on it with doing auditions or cold emailing, etc., etc. You need to be working towards a demo and like not to super overwhelm them, but there are steps and then there's a good way to kind of get started in voiceover. But 99% of the people, when I send them the email or even just telling them, oh, that's awesome, I'll send you an email on how to get to the next step, they are defeated because what they want me to say is, oh my God, that's so cool. You know what? I'm having a lunch with the director next week. We're looking for the new lead of our project. We'd love to just throw you in there. And that's not how it works.
No.
We're too used to hearing like TikTok stories or other things of people where they were like, I was discovered in a mall and now I'm the lead of some game. And sure, it happens rarely, but not really.
No. Again, this goes back to what I'm saying. Like, show you guys his work first. Show the work before we just go ahead. Because, like I said, for people just come and say, "Hey, I could do anything. I could do this and that." Yeah, but what have you done in the last as 4 to 5 years? What have you done in that time frame? Like, you gotta listen. If you don't show your work and what you've done, you're not going to get as far as you want to.
Yeah, you need to work hard for it, unfortunately. And honestly, the people that I know that got thrown into something without having the background in it, without having to kind of work their way up, it's not as fulfilling. They let's say they even do a very good job. Sometimes I've also seen people get thrown into opportunities that they weren't ready for and then they did not do as well, and that can kind of hurt their reputation, not to mention their self-esteem. But even the people that do really well and they're like a natural at it, it's not fulfilling to them because they reached like the top so fast and then they're like, okay, like this was great, but like I don't feel the way I thought I would, as opposed to like working hard for it for like at most years and then finally getting somewhere.
2 things my granddaddy taught me, Rebecca. You're gonna love this. 1, they weren't hungry for it. 2, people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do that. Make sure you know what you're doing. Do the work and like listen. Take time. Like, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like, we'll be here when you're ready. Once you're ready, we'll get you in. So don't rush. People tend to like feel like, hey, if I don't do this right quick, it's going to be gone forever. Like they want to get right into it, be like, hey, I want to do this and everything, but they just don't want to take their time. What's the old saying? Quality over quantity.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
listen, I learned that lesson. I deleted my YouTube gaming channel last year because it was not perfect. It wasn't getting as many views. So I decided to start over and just put everything on one channel going forward.
Sure.
So you learn from your mistakes, and that's good. Listen, all that stuff is not remembering about the good stuff in life, but it's also remembering about the bad stuff as well, so we can learn. Like we're going to make mistakes; it's inevitable. But how do we learn from them is what matters.
Yeah.
Whatever career that you're doing. Um, let's see. Next one. Now, how do you balance working on major projects like anime dubs with indie games or smaller productions?
Uh, it's not too hard to balance because kind of like we were saying, it's not like we're doing feature stuff. It's not like I'm doing a TV show or something where it's something that takes up most of my days. You kind of have to wear a lot of hats. You gotta do a lot of projects at once. So yeah, it's great to be able to go into the studio the amount of times per week or per month that you get to do, but then it's also really important to like be your own uh accountability, to still be doing auditions for indie projects or be cold emailing other production studios. You still have other work, because I think the biggest issue some actors have is they rely on opportunities that can sometimes just get handed to them, the things that will fall in their lap, which is great, but that's not the end all be all. You still have to be pushing for more work.
Mm-hmm. It is, and this goes back to what I'm saying. Like, we can't just wait for something to happen. We got to get after it.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, shoot. This goes back to, see, I could say this all night. Like, if we put in, like, go after something today, like, just listen, stay productive every day. That's all I can say. As long as you're working every day, that's all that matters. The big stuff will come later as long as you're working hard.
Sure, but I will say there is a caveat. I don't think people need to put too much pressure on themselves, because I know there's also people where it's like, I have to do 50 auditions a day and then X amount of Z of marketing. I think as long as you're building towards something, I don't think people need to feel like they have to do a certain amount of work to be fulfilled or be doing the right thing, because that's the hard part about freelance work, is like you don't have like a set schedule, and so sometimes if you're not working you feel bad because you're like, oh, I could be doing this and I could be getting other opportunities, but I'm deciding to go hang out with my friend instead. Maybe that was a bad choice, and then that's how people get burnt out.
Mhm. And they get stressed. And yeah, that's not good. And they also get stressed out. Like, if shoot, if I can ever really get from point A to point B. But we need to have you guys. You guys already having like your fellow VAs coming up and talk to you, saying like, "Hey, you can do this. Just keep like And also, it's okay to take a break if you're tired. Don't try to like rush and do something that you're exhausted the next day. Like I've done what I had to do because it's just going to make you more depressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, let's see. Now, what's something behind the scenes about ADR or dubbing that fans would be surprised to learn?
So I kind of touched on this earlier, but it is so hard and they don't realize it. So for example, again, we already kind of touched on some of this, but we don't get the scripts ahead of time, at least not at Crunchyroll. I know some other studios you do. At Crunchyroll, we don't. And sometimes the Japanese episodes aren't even available because sometimes it gets released at the same time. And so, and also sometimes you don't even know what the role is. If it's not like a lead role, actually no, sometimes even is a lead role. You don't know. You're just getting called into the studio. So you get thrown in there, you go into the studio, they say, okay, here's who you're playing. You get like 2 seconds to be like, okay, here's the voice I think I want to use. And then you have 2 monitors. You have one that has the Japanese picture, and you have one that has the script. And then like, you have 3 beeps, and then you have to read what's on the English script. In a way that sounds good. Like, it has to be in the voice type that you want to use that also matches the Japanese. So you have to, in the same time, you get to hear it once. You get to see like a little bit of whatever the line is you're gonna do. You get to see it once for pacing and also for the voice type. But then right after that, you feel like, okay, let me imitate the voice type. Let me do a good acting choice, and then let me read this perfectly. So you have to be good at cold reading as well. And then at the same time, you're also looking at the other monitor to make sure you're timing it to the mouth flaps. So it is very difficult.
Oh shoot. That's gotta be exhausting to have to do so many things at once, multitasking. Doesn't that make you dizzy sometimes as well?
You get used to it the more you do it. And it can be dizzying. It can be a little bit stressful. But the more you practice it or the more you get to do it, which I know is not easy for everyone, it gets a little bit easier. But that's also why some people are like dub is so much easier and you guys did that. Like, you don't know what we go through, man.
That's what I'll be saying too. Like as fans, when we see our conventions, this seems like easy stuff. No, it's not. It is not. Like, stop. Listen. When you start doing this stuff, you might start to regret it later. So make sure this is something you really want to do. Like, ask those questions when you get up to them, and tell them like what exactly can we expect? Because, and like you said before, having to manage all those screens and make sure you're timing it with the lip flaps. No, it's like hand-eye coordination on a game.
Yeah. Not to mention if you're doing it remotely, because if you're doing it remotely like I am right now, you also have to be your own engineer. So you also have to take accountability on how much your volume is up. Because if you do like a scream or a cry or something that is too loud, then oh no, you may have ruined the take and you have to do it again. So there's a lot of things you have to juggle.
I'm having the same problem when I'm on OBS Studio doing Twitch streams. I'm a Twitch streamer too. I do Twitch streaming as well. When I have to check on the video, the voice on my mic, the volume on my mic, and the volume from the Elgato to make sure like we're at the exact volume, not the same time, that is perfect where they can hear me clearly in the game as well. Yeah, man, that is stressful. Oh my gosh, I got brain freeze. Ugh.
Yeah,
it's too much processing.
It's a lot, and sometimes people will talk to us and be like, that wasn't the character choice I would have done. I think that this character should have broken down crying. And it's like, I don't get that creative choice, I have the picture that tells me she's not crying, and I have the Japanese voice that tells me the emotion to use. And, sometimes you can play around with it, but not to that extreme. And you have a director who's telling you how they want it to be read. So sometimes when people come after us and they're like, that was a bad choice, that was bad words, that's not even on us.
Well, hey, I think everything has to deal with parallel processing. Like for example, driving a car, like we all had to learn how to use the steering wheel, the gas, the brake, and the stick shift. We all in the gear shift and all that stuff. We basically had to learn how to use all those individually before I have to use them without thinking.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect example. So with you guys doing that and me doing like the Twitch, make sure the volume on, yeah, it's not easy, but once you get used to it, it'll get better.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, again, I don't blame anyone who chooses to watch sub over dub. That is totally a preference, and I also sometimes watch sub over dub. But it gets a little bit more rude when people just say the dub sucks and they're saying it's so easy and they voiced it wrong. It's like that. You don't understand what goes into it, man.
Yeah, don't listen to them. They just hate me. Don't listen to them.
I'm a person. Just respect me. That's all.
You guys are not the characters. You're just
doing.
You're trying to put these characters into life as well. We are not officially done with that. We're halfway. Before we continue, are you enjoying our discussion so far tonight?
Yeah, of course.
Just making sure. This next one is going to be important because it's about identity, style, and personal edge. Now, you've mentioned your Italian Russian heritage. Has that influenced your voice, your artistry, or the types of roles you connect with?
Sorry, are those two separate questions or is one?
No. Okay, let me repeat it. I think I said it the wrong way. You've mentioned your Italian Russian heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Has that influenced your voice, your artistry, or the types of roles you connect with?
Yeah, somewhat. So yeah, I'm first generation because my mom's side of the family is Russian, and my dad was born and somewhat raised in Italy before he immigrated over here to the U.S. And so I'm very proud of my heritage. And I do get excited when I get to do like any kind of Italian or Russian roles. I haven't really done any Italian roles, but there's often a lot more for Russian because they kind of make them the villains. So I'm excited if I get to use my Russian accent, or if I get to speak in Italian, which is not very often because I'm also not fluent. So those are really cool. But I will say, as far as the characters that I think would excite me, yeah, if there is anything of those demographics, it's cool, or anything that has to do with I guess those cultures.
Mhm. Yeah, and I've seen so many of you guys with different because I want to understand your heritage too. Like, I think I've been doing a lot more research on certain shows that deal because what was that? What was the name of that show? Aila sometimes expresses her feelings in Russian. Is that what it was
Yeah.
called?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I got it right. Yeah, you have so many shows who deal with different cultures and people in anime as well, and they want to express the way how these cultures operate that we don't see in everyday life because we can't go to another country or can't afford it. Um, but you get to see a certain aspect because I know with so many of you guys coming from different countries, like TV, television, and like streaming services is evolving in our world today. And there are some people in like Los Angeles, Texas, who can't actually finish the show without a perspective from a different culture first. And if you've seen people like Caitlin Glass, she's trying to bring more diversity to anime as possible. Because if you've seen a lot of like, racism going on with the anime community as well, there's people always be trolling in the comic sections, blah blah. They ain't supposed to be this character and everything and whatnot, especially with the incident with Zeno Robinson saying
Yes.
that he wasn't black enough for this character. I was like, where the hell is this coming from? Like they just get so triggered over this kind of stuff. Like, y'all, like I don't care what you are as long as the show. Because most of these characters that I see, they're mostly voiced by Japanese people,
Hmm.
and it kind of makes sense. Like, let's bring some more authenticity and diverse, like different perspectives into these shows. Like, take Apothecary Diaries. Sean Gann had to put Asian people in Apothecary Diaries because it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And you know, and some idiots online they just doing it for attention. Like y'all don't like the show, don't watch it. But I'm sitting here because I actually want to learn from you, Rebecca. Because when I saw your heritage, I was like, hey, if she's willing to, like, I'm willing to sit down and you can teach me about it so I can get an understanding.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And I think it's great when we're able to bring the diversity and our authentic selves to those roles, and but there's such a fine line because in situations like Apothecary Diaries, or with Zeno Robinson, that's great and it brings so much more to the role, especially if it's a show that specifically is meant to take place in like China or ancient China, as opposed to like an isekai where it's like it's fantasy, we don't even know what race these people are. Um so it's such a fine line when it comes to that. And I know, for example, do you know the Anne of Green Gables? That
I
anime?
I've heard of it, but I haven't watched an episode, but I did read up about it a little bit.
So that's an anime that the tale itself originally came from Canada. So there were some people that were giving the voice actress some flack because she wasn't Canadian. But it's like, okay, I understand the diversity in some respects, but then also sometimes you also have to realize realistically we have maybe two voice actors on the roster. I don't know. I'm not part of that. That would be Canadian. So at some point, it's about the diversity and also how important is it that she's from Canada to the story. Again, I do not know. This is just an example. Versus the actual acting. So there's always a scale for it. But again, in the situations like Apothecary Diaries, and a bunch of other ones, and possibly Anne of Green Gables too, I don't know enough, it is important in those situations. It's just such a fine line.
Yeah, and we need to keep telling, like, listen, the more the years continue, the more you're gonna have stories. Like, I guarantee y'all can't finish the story unless y'all have different cultures' perspective on how the story is supposed to be. if people just keep using the same characters over and over again, it's not the way how we move forward, especially the way our climate our climate is today with everything that's going on in our country. Just it's more important than ever that we tell these stories, but also tell them in the eyes of different cultures as well.
Yeah, it's very
So
important. Yeah.
So yeah, so I need to I by the way, I am planning on adding that one to the list as well because I want to understand this too. Because the more I talk to you guys and understand your perspectives on how even different heritages as well, the more I can get into these shows as well. I don't want to watch these things and I haven't done the research or talked to one of you guys. That's just disrespectful of me. Okay, just trying to maintain respect here before I watch the shows.
Yeah.
So
And I should say also, sometimes it's even outside of race. So it has to do with like abilities. So like hiring like a blind voice actor for a blind character role. Or maybe someone with a certain mental disorder for a certain role with like a character with bipolar disorder or something like that. Anything that makes it a bit more authentic can help if you're able to.
exactly. The more that, the more the more realistic it is, the more life, sorry, I had that backwards. The more y'all bring people like that, the more realistic it feels in the show.
Yeah. And not only that, so the reason why it also in the voiceover community started having more of the emphasis on POC roles is because not just that, like, oh, a black person can play a black role better than some other race. That might be true. But also, historically, a lot of people of color were not given those same opportunities to audition as people who are white, people who are cis, etc., etc. And so now it's more of a pushback of like, okay, well, now we really need to emphasize that these people get the opportunity to audition because, equality. And then maybe later on the day, when we know that they have that equality again, if it happens, then we can go back to, certain people maybe playing other roles. But again, authenticity is also important, so who knows?
Oh well, shoot. Well, hey, I say keep telling those stories, Rebecca. Don't let those idiots on the internet troll you because you're just voicing a character that's not yours. The like I said, y'all, if you don't like it, don't watch it. So they just doing it for attention. All you had to do is just keep scrolling.
Yeah.
So
To some effect, it is important because it is important for some authentication. That's not the right word, but you know what I mean. Obviously, for the Xena role, it was important that we had a black person play that role. For the extent of the blackness, though, that is, beyond the line, and that's disrespectful.
well, shoot. They wanted attention. We gave it to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, next one. Oh, you're gonna like this one. Your voice has been described as bubbly and playful. Now, but also capable of deep sincerity. How do you tap into that emotional range?
I think I would say that the bubbly personality is more like without thinking. So I think if anything, if I needed to go into more of like a sincere range, I have to put more effort into it. Because I remember I did a commercial class one time, and I was told by the director that like I was doing a bubbly read, and she's like, "Stop it! You're putting too much effort into it. Just like you trying to read it flat will come across bubbly enough." So then for anything that I need to do less, I had to put in so much more effort because it's not my natural cadence.
Okay, sweet stuff, sweet stuff. And listen, listen. I like comedy stuff as well. You got sometimes you gotta put the positivity in these characters because sometimes it's gonna be like those dark times and whatnot. And maybe listen. We all need a little laughter sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, sometimes when I'm having a bad day, I'd be playing games on the Xbox and Nintendo Switch. I'd be listening to all the dialogue in the Gears 5 matches when they be killing people and everything. So it's yeah, you gotta have that.
Yeah, it's funny because I think a lot of my girl roles, at least in anime, they're usually the comedic relief ones. But then when I play certain boys, those are like the serious ones. Like I played Kai in Teogonia, and that's like a very serious show with like very rare comedic stuff, but not usually by my character. And so that's where you kind of have to like lock in and be like, okay, you have to relate to the material and figure out the gravity of the situation. But then for all the girls, like Chelsea and Dr. Stone, or like Iku and 100 Girlfriends, it's like, I get to relieve all the stress and be like, hey, look at me doing this funny thing.
There you go. Well, shoot, I haven't seen any of those shows, but I'm going to take a look at those too, because I was like, I want to hear your bubbly voice in there. See how
Yeah.
it's going. Yeah, but yes, again, comedy is an important factor. Why am I saying this? There's comedy in these anime shows we're watching. There's always comedy in there. So yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking of something funny right quick. I just can't get out of my thoughts. Well, but
You're
yeah.
good.
So now, what kind of roles or characters do you feel personally connected to?
I think anything with hard work, anything that's like someone has to work hard towards something, I think I like those a lot, which also goes back to Iku. So Iku from 100 Girlfriends, people just see her as a masochist because they're like, oh, she likes people to like, she gets off on, people, hitting her on the butt or whatever. But the reality of it more so is that she kind of, not gets off, but like, she likes the hard work of a situation. She likes working hard for something and then seeing results. And and then it gets, a bit more comedic, but, and I'm very similar, not only because of this type of career, but like, you have to work so hard for the things that you want in life. And I think anytime I get to play a character like that, or any character that I could play in the future, it really sits with me, especially if there's any shows where it has to do with acting as well, like any shows where it's like, oh, a person who's an actor and they're trying to make it or whatever. I'm sure that resonates with all of us at Crunchyroll.
Well, hey, listen, every character you've seen, from all these stuff, the superhero movies and whatnot, each character is working, they're fighting for a cause, they're working hard towards a goal. They're trying to make sure they can live a life that they can be proud of. And making sure, like, I feel successful now. I feel fulfilled. I've done this. Now I can continue with the next part and do whatever it takes to get to that point. And listen, it's a never ending cycle. You've seen how many shows that you guys keep pumping out, and you tell these stories how people are just like desperate to make a. They're just trying to make a difference. Every storyline, they're just trying to make a difference.
Sure. And I do think I see what you're saying there. I think, obviously, in everyone's personal story, they all want something. I guess I personally more resonate with the people that, I guess, go for it. Like, if we're talking about, like, Midoriya or whatever. Yes, that's someone who's like, I have a goal and I'm going to work hard toward it. But then there's also a lot of characters where it's like, they want something, but they also just want it. They don't do anything to get it. They're just like, oh, I want this thing to happen. Or there's too many characters for their side characters and we don't get to see their struggle. We don't get to see them going for the gold.
Mhm. And you can't achieve them if you don't do nothing. Like get up. What's that? What's that old saying from Ratatouille from Pixar? But it's now no excuse for living if you focus on what you left behind, but you'll never be able to see what lies ahead. So
Mm-hmm.
go up and look around.
Yeah.
I need to watch that movie again. That was an old modern classic.
And there's a musical now.
What? Really?
Well, a couple years ago, people on TikTok started making the Ratatouille musical, and I think they made it.
Oh, man. I got a key. I got it. Man, nobody tells me nothing.
Look it up. It has good songs.
Okay, I'll make sure to take a look at that. But yes, any show, like all those shows, like if you guys, every main character, they want something, but they realize they gotta work hard and get to it first.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess we're at the end here. Now, two-part question. You ready?
Sure.
So, now, what's a dream role or type of project you haven't done yet but would love to tackle? Part two. If you could give one piece of advice to aspiring voice actors trying to find their voice, what would it be?
Okay, so the first part, I don't know how to say this, but like my favorite show of all time, my favorite anime, I think the thing that really got me into anime is Hunter x Hunter, specifically the 1999 version. And right now, we're starting to get a bit more manga, and if that ever comes back as an anime, because what they did is they started in 1999, it went for a couple years, and then it stopped. And then by the time there was enough material to make another season of the anime, they're like, okay, it's been 10 years, we have to like remake it. So they remade the whole thing in 2011, and now if it comes back, I don't know what's gonna happen, but there's some cool scenes and some cool characters. So if it comes back, that is my dream role, is to be in that show.
Okay, yeah. Hunter x Hunter is a classic. So
Yeah.
they're bringing all these shows back. Like, listen, I just watched the first episode of regular show, The Lost Tapes.
Mm.
So they're breaking that. That's my old classic too. So I'm hoping they keep doing all these remasters and reboots.
Yeah, they're doing that so much, especially with stuff from the 90s or the 2000s. Like I thought I heard they were doing something with Oron as well. Like they're grabbing a bunch of old stuff and then they're making movies of it or they're making a special episode or they're remaking it and it's cool.
They also did one for Animaniacs back in 2020. And
Yeah,
I,
I
s-
think so.
yeah, Animaniacs was my jam back in the 90s. I was born in the 90s. I was born 2000, but I still watch reruns. That
Mm.
was that was that was that was like one of my favorites back then too. They are crazy stuff. And then, oh, what else are they trying to do reboots on? I can't remember. I think that was pretty much it. I think I have to do my research. I can't think of off the top of my head. But yes, I hope they keep doing reboots like that.
Yeah, well, sometimes, unless they ruin them, like what they did with Teen Titans Go
Oh,
or with
don't
Powerpuff
jinx. Don't.
Girls.
I'm about to say, don't jinx it now. Don't jinx it.
Wait, what am I jinxing?
Like if they do something bad and then you say, then the viewer comes around and it is bad.
I don't have much hope for some reboots. Let's hope.
Gotcha. And then the last part was, if you could give one piece of advice to aspiring voice actors trying to find their voice, what would it be?
Yeah, I would say take it a step at a time and start with basics. I think there's a lot of people, like we said, who just want the end goal. They want to do one audition and then become the lead of an anime when there's a lot of stuff that comes from behind that. So I think starting with the basics, I know it's slow, but it's so much better that way. Getting the acting training, taking lessons. I still take lessons. Everyone should still take lessons. There's always more stuff to learn. And then slowly gaining experience in gaining how you know how to use your own voice so you can make a good quality demo before applying to things like rosters and doing more auditions, etc., etc. Take the steps. But also, what I recommend, because I see this being a big issue for a lot of actors, um, while it's good to consider yourself as like a cog in the larger machine, you're not the only person. I would still try to just focus on yourself because I think right now with a lot of social media, it makes a lot of people um, feel, like imposters or feel like they're not good enough. Or even if like they get a project they're so excited about and then they see their friend get an even bigger project or get like the lead of something and then suddenly they're not proud of their own achievements anymore. They're like, oh, but I just did this or I'll never get to that. And it brings them back down. So just like focus on yourself. You're not racing against other actors. You're racing against yourself and the progress that not racing, but it's
Yeah,
your own journey.
exactly. You heard it from her. You listen to
Yeah.
her. All right. So, well, I think that kind of wraps things up, and we're at an hour, or as I promised. So, hope that helps. But did you enjoy our discussion today?
Yeah. It was great talking with you.
Sure thing. And yeah, so like I said, just keep like you just said to people who want to do this kind of stuff, one day at a time is all I will say. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Enough said.